Welcome to Be Bold Branding. Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace, where we help business stars differentiate themselves, and we do that through personal branding.
Hey folks, I'm Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was a client before I became a partner in the company, and we are the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep, and today we're going to share some thoughts with you about brand reinforcement. We'll get to that in just a minute, but what on earth does that mean? Well, there's been a lot of discussion about personal branding lately, and there's been a lot of misinformation and confusion, mass confusion.
A lot of misinformation.
So today we're going to bring you guys some clarity and reinforcement, what a brand is and what it's not. So I'm going to actually start the conversation by sharing my screen with you for a second and showing you something. And I need you guys to kind of chime in and tell us, share my screen here, okay? Tell us, is this a brand? Is this a brand? Just leave your comments down below as soon as you see this. Is this a brand? Okay, Michael?
No, it's not a brand. Now let us explain. That is a logo. What makes it a brand is what it represents, right? And what over time it is built to represent itself, right? And what they have built is a culture. And a brand is building a culture. Okay, it starts with a logo because everybody needs a logo. But as you know, Tanya coined the phrase, people don't do business with a logo. They'll do business with a person. And this, you can see how this is going to pull in personal branding also, right? Even though we're using an example of an inanimate brand. But what that brand is how did that make you feel? Like, where were you when you had your first Coca-Cola? When you see Coca-Cola, do you want to ride sleds down, snowy mountains with polar bears? Do you imagine classic Santa Clauses, right? You imagine, working out and playing hard in the summertime and taking the cold can and wiping it across your brow, right? All of that is the brand that they have built, the culture that they have built around the Coca-Cola label, around the Coca-Cola logo, which is actually a symbol and actually an element of branding.
Absolutely. So as Michael said, it is a symbol of the brand. So a lot of people, even as they're coming through our program and doing the personal, building the personal brand, a lot of times they'll say correctly, okay, now my brand is ready to go. Now it's up to me to continue to put it out there. That is correct, right? And then they'll finish that sentence with, and it's going to take a long time. And we completely disagree with that. It does not take a long time to get your brand out there. So every time, think about this, every time Coca-Cola does a TV commercial, like the polar bear commercial Michael mentioned, that TV commercial evokes a feeling. Each time they give to a cause or in a community, that evokes a feeling about that product. It's what they want you to remember most about them. And with each touch, each impression, or each outreach, there are more people impacted by what they stand for. So when you're thinking about your own personal brand, think about this. Remember that each time you get your story out there, you get your branding elements out there that pull in more of the aspects of your brand, you are impacting one or more, sometimes lots more people every single time. It may take several times of being exposed to your brand before it begins to resonate, because obviously we're bombarded with messages all around us every day. So we know that in order to really get that brand to resonate, you've got to keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there. But it doesn't take decades or even years or even months, really, guys. It just takes exposures and exposures to the right people. If you've been on some of these videos, you've heard me say something I coined a long time ago when I was in media. The success in an advertising campaign is getting the right message to the right people at the right time, enough times, right? So if we continue to do that, continue to put our brand out there, and it doesn't mean we have to spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it out there. Of course, that's going to help you get it out there faster, right? But most people don't have that. It just means honing in on those ideal customers, because you don't have to put your brand out everywhere. Guess why? Not everybody's going to resonate with your brand the same way. Not everybody is your customer. So get that brand out to your ideal customers, narrow those down, get it out often, and express your brand with more than just a logo. As we say all the time, a brand is a lot more than a logo, a photo, and a tagline.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember, it does not take decades. It does not take years. It really doesn't even take months to have your brand out there and make it known for what you stand for, what you want people to feel about you and know about you. And that is your brand. It just takes exposures.
I have to add this in, like the guy that taught me the auction business, and when I was young, and he's one of the funniest human beings on earth. It always has been to me. And but he would say that about when he didn't want to get up on the stand and like do his run, he'd come get one of us young guys, and he'd be like, come on. And he always called me Monkey or Driver. And he's like, hey, Monkey, come on, Monkey. I'm going to get you some exposure. And that's what he'd call it. And he'd put you up on the stand, and, you know, then he'd stand down and make fun of you for how you sounded.
Heckler.
So it was a setup. I mean, you were going to lose either way, right? But it was great training, obviously. But anyway, yeah, got to get some exposure. That's what you got to do with your brand. And, you know, you're right. People say to this all the time, you know, they're like, oh, it's going to take me forever to build my brand. You know, you have these certain naysayers that just think this, oh, it's this huge mountain I've got to climb, you know, because they've got to become Coca-Cola overnight, right? And really and truly, that's not really what it's about. But it does work instantly. It does. And, you know, we teach in our program, we go through 77 different criteria to build a brand. But I can't tell you the clients that we've had, we're just one element of that brand. They call us on the phone. We just had it on the webinar today where they'll say, well, you know, I just took that one element. I told the person what I did, and I got a client, you know, or I got a viable client on social media, or I've made a connection, or somebody in my spheres reached out to me because of a tagline or because. So the elements can work for you overnight when it comes to that. And, you know, for an example, and Tanya taught me this when she took me on as a client, she's like, look, now you're going to have to behave, and I need to know that you're full of integrity if I'm going to take you on, because I'm not going to have you in a restaurant with a logo on your shirt and then have a cook, you know, overcooked steak or something, and you're sending it back, and you're, you know, being Mr. Arrogant and, you know, making a tail end out of yourself. And, you know, because your steak's overcooked, and then all the while your logo's on your, you know, on your shirt. And I'm like, well, first off, I'm not going to do that anyway. But second of all, it is the point that we're making about a brand working instantly. It can work instantly. I mean, have a logo on your shirt and stand up and make an ass out of yourself at a restaurant or a public place, and see if people don't make a notice of the logo that you got on, right? And so that it does. Brand awareness works like that, for the positive or for the negative.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll expound a little bit upon that example that Michael was talking about. We just got off of a webinar with some of our awesome clients, and one of them expressed to us, she said, you know, I put my brand out there, and she said it happened about only 2 weeks into the process. I put my brand out there, and one of the people that's in one of her ideal customers is financial advisors, right? So she put the brand out to a financial advisor. That's one of her influencers, if you will. And the financial advisor sent her exactly a referral for exactly the type of client that her brand is designed to help, like who her ideal customers are. And then she went on to say, and I just got a new client off of social media the other day because I've been posting some things with my new branding elements, and I've been getting engagement, and all of a sudden now I have a hot lead, and I'm following up with her this afternoon, and I'm going to turn her into a client. And that's the first time I've ever been able to get a client off of social media. So for those of you out there who say you can't make money off social media, you can't get clients, I'm hoping there's not very many of you still out there saying that. But if you are, you're wrong. You are so wrong. Right. You can absolutely can.
If I could insert right here something like the Joe Garrard story. I did something not too long ago about Joe Garrard. You know, if you get one satisfied client, one of the ways that Joe Girard grew to be the greatest car salesman in the history of the world was because he saw that one person, satisfied person, as 250 people that they knew, right? And there's an old story in marketing, like you do a really good job and your client will tell one person, you do a bad job and they'll tell 10. Right. So you got, there's another reason why you got to get it out there, and take care of one. But Joe saw that differently. And it changed the way I looked at clients also. If you've got one really satisfied client and you know how to take your brand forward and then ask them for the referrals of their people, then they represent a whole lot of customers,
They sure do. He said he looked at every one person as knowing 250 others, right?
Exactly.
250 potential clients.
250 potential clients that was in their sphere of influence.
Yep. I love that thought process. So what we want to leave you with, guys, today is making sure that you understand what a brand truly is. It's not one element. It's not a couple of elements. It's all of it. Everything from the way you answer the phone to the way you express yourself in public, to the way you email back and forth with somebody, the way you post on social media, your story, what it's all about, the way that you advertise and market your services and who you're supposed to do business with. All of that is a brand. And in doing all of that, you're creating a feeling about doing business with you, a feeling about you as a professional that you are, that you're shaping as you move forward with your brand. And it's a much more than just a logo, a photo, and a tagline. It's everything you stand for. And it's reinforced with every piece of marketing that you put out there. So make it all count. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I invite you, if you are a real estate professional, head over to our dedicated Facebook group called Build Your Real Estate Brand. And if you are a business owner or entrepreneur, head over to our dedicated Facebook group called Build Your Business Star Brand. Okay. And you'll find access and content there you won't find anywhere else. This is why you shouldn't do videos live. You just stumble over everything and you can't edit it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yep, folks. And also, if you just wanted to talk about a brand or learn a little bit more to see if you're headed down the right road, you can go to discussyourbrand.com, discussyourbrand.com. And our staff members are there waiting to take your calls. Sometimes Tanya and I get to take those calls, which is nice when we get to do that and have those conversations. But look, it's a free 30-minute session, and we'll just talk about it. We'll find out. It's about building your culture. Yeah, folks, look, it's about prosperity, right? And we're not just talking about money when we talk about prosperity. We're talking about the full 360 of an abundant life. And we know here at BrandFace that prosperity favors the bold. So we say be bold, folks, especially with your brand, and stay committed to that. It'll make a difference in your life. Thank you, Ms. Tanya.
Thank you, Michael. Reinforce it, guys. All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you.